I used to feel like I was on fire for life. Then one day, the fire just went out. Maybe you felt this too. You go through something intense. Maybe it's a spiritual awakening. Maybe it's a dark night of the soul, and suddenly the world you used to know doesn't feel the same. People still talk about their careers, their plans, their goals like they're chasing the next big thing. But you don't feel like chasing anything anymore. In fact, some days, getting out of bed feels like standing at the bottom of a mountain with no rope, no map, and no reason to climb. And no one really talks about this part. No one tells you that after a spiritual awakening, after you start to see beyond the illusions, you might feel like you've lost all motivation for the life you once wanted. You might even wonder, is something wrong with me? Why am I so tired, so disconnected, so flat? Did I do something wrong? But here's the truth. You didn't lose motivation because you're broken. You lost motivation because something deeper is waking up inside you. Carl Jung called this the journey into the self, the moment the ego begins to crumble and the soul starts to speak. But the language of the soul is nothing like the language of the world. And in between the two, there's a quiet, terrifying, beautiful space where everything goes still. That's where you are, and you're not alone. So if you've been feeling like a ghost inside your own life, if you've been wondering why you can't go back to the old you, and if you're ready to finally understand what's really happening beneath the surface, and I have something for you. Are you ready to understand the real reason behind it all? Then let's keep going. Welcome back, beautiful soul, to Darker Wisdom Channel, where psychology's forbidden truths are finally exposed. This isn't self-help. This isn't spirituality. This is the raw, unfiltered knowledge your shadow has been hiding from you. Here, we don't just study the mind, we hunt it. We dissect the lies you've been fed about love, power, and manifestation. And most importantly, we arm you against your own darkness. Turn on notifications, because what comes next will rewire your reality. And if you dare to go deeper, subscribe so you never miss our soul-expanding content. With gratitude for your presence and support. The shadows are watching, but now so are you. Let's begin today's transformative exploration. Why do so many people feel lost, empty, or unmotivated after a spiritual awakening? In this video, we explore Carl Jung's deep psychological insights on ego death, the dark night of the soul, and what it truly means to lose motivation after awakening. You're not broken, you're becoming. Discover how post-awakening emptiness is a necessary part of your transformation, and how to find meaning again from the inside out. This is for anyone navigating spiritual burnout, feeling disconnected from life, or seeking deeper healing through shadow work and Jungian psychology. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." That's what a spiritual awakening does. It shines a light on what's been buried deep inside for years, maybe decades. But here's what no one tells you. Waking up doesn't always feel like light and bliss. It often feels like loss. You're not just awakening to truth. You're grieving an entire identity. You're mourning the you that used to be driven by external goals, validation, and the illusion of control. You're watching your old self slowly dissolve, and it's terrifying. And motivation? Motivation was often just a mask for fear. Fear of not being enough. Fear of falling behind. Fear of disappointing others. Fear of death even. So when you awaken and start to see through that fear, the fuel that once powered your ambition runs dry. Not because you're lazy, but because your inner operating system is rebooting. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a job you were once excited about, but now the thought of going in makes you feel hollow? You sit at your desk, staring at the screen, and wonder, what's the point? Or maybe you've tried going back to old goals, gym routines, passion projects, dating apps, but they just don't light you up anymore. It's like eating food that used to taste good, but now has no flavor. This is not a sign of failure. It's a sign of shedding. What's happening is this. Your ego, your conditioned self, is loosening its grip, and your authentic self is emerging. But here's the thing about the authentic self. It doesn't chase. It listens. And right now, it's listening. Quietly. Painfully. Honestly. You're not broken. You're becoming real. And becoming real is hard. Now that you see the truth, would you like to go deeper into how this shapes our story? There was a woman I once knew, let's call her Maya. She had a high-paying job in the city, friends who adored her, a beautiful apartment. And she was absolutely miserable. She didn't know why. Everything looked perfect. But inside, something was cracking. Then, one day, during a meditation retreat, something opened. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't even spiritual, in the way Instagram might show it. It was subtle. Quiet. She said it felt like her heart exhaled for the first time in years. After that, she couldn't go back. Not really. She returned home and tried to pick up where she left off, but the illusion had shattered. She couldn't find the same fire for her job, her social life, even her goals. She felt like a stranger in her own life. She called it depression at first, but it wasn't. It was honesty. One afternoon, sitting on the floor of her apartment, she whispered something out loud that changed everything. I don't want to go back, but I'm scared to move forward. That's the moment the transformation began. Not when she found a new passion. Not when she moved to Bali. Not when she figured it all out. But when she allowed herself to feel lost without rushing to fix it. That moment of surrender. That's when she stopped fighting the death of her old self. And when she stopped fighting, something began to stir, a new voice. A quieter one. Not of ambition or urgency, but of alignment. She started asking different questions. Not, what do I want to achieve? But, what feels true? What feels real? What feels alive? And slowly, like sunlight returning after a storm, her energy came back. But it wasn't the old fire of fear. It was a steady, soul-fed warmth. Now that we've seen what change looks like, how do you create it in your own life? Let's move forward. The first thing is, stop trying to motivate yourself like the old you would. This isn't about pushing anymore. It's about listening. The ego thrives on urgency. The soul moves at the pace of truth. So here's what you can start doing, not as a checklist, but as a way of being. Begin your mornings not with a to-do list, but with a breath. Before the noise begins, ask yourself, what do I need today? Not what the world expects of you. Not what your past self demanded, but what your soul is whispering. If you feel numb, don't judge it. Sit with it. Listen to it. Numbness is often the doorway to something unprocessed. Go for slow walks without a destination. Let your body lead. Let the wind speak. Speak gently to yourself, especially when you feel guilty for not doing enough. That guilt? That's the old system talking. Thank it and let it go. Create small rituals that remind you of your aliveness, not because they're productive, but because they're sacred. Carl Jung believed that healing the psyche doesn't come from trying to fix symptoms. It comes from integrating the parts of ourselves we've ignored, exiled, or deemed unworthy. So when motivation disappears, it's not a call to force more action. It's a call to meet yourself more honestly. Let life feel slow for a while. Let yourself be reformed. Because you're not here to be efficient. You're here to be whole. Do you want to hear the final truth? The one that ties it all together? Let's go to the last part. You're not unmotivated. You're becoming aligned. There's a quiet revolution happening inside you. The life you thought you wanted is fading, not because you failed, but because your soul has outgrown the cage it was once told to live in. Carl Jung called this individuation, the process of becoming your true self. It's messy. It's lonely. It's beautiful. And it requires the death of who you were never meant to be. But hear this. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are on time. You are shedding the lies so you can finally hear the truth of your own voice. This season may feel like stillness, like silence, like waiting. But inside you, something ancient is waking up. Let it. You don't need to rush back to motivation. You don't need to rebuild the old life. You're not here to impress the world. You're here to express your soul. And when you begin to live from that place, that quiet, rooted, sacred place in your elevation will return. Not as pressure, but as purpose. So take heart, beautiful soul. You are not lost. You are becoming. And if this touched something deep in you, if you felt seen or understood, leave a comment. Tell your story. Share this with someone who's also walking this path. Because we rise by remembering we're not alone. So maybe you're not here to chase anymore. Maybe you're here to remember. To remember who you were before the world told you who to be. To remember that stillness is not failure. That rest is not weakness. That the quiet inside you is not emptiness. It's the sound of your soul finally having space to speak. The fire you lost, it wasn't your fault. It was just never your fire to begin with. You were burning for approval, for identity, for survival. But now, something else is rising in you? Not a blaze of urgency, but a deeper flame of truth. And I want you to know, it's okay to not have the answers yet. It's okay to feel undone. You're not falling apart. You're falling inward. This is where your real life begins. Not the life that impresses others, but the life that finally feels like home. So be gentle with yourself. You're doing sacred work. And if this video held a mirror to your journey, if it helped you feel seen, even just a little, please take a moment to share your story in the comments. You never know who you might help feel less alone. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Darker Wisdom. This is just the beginning of what we're exploring here. Not surface advice, but soul-level truth. Until next time, stay soft, stay strong, and never fear the dark. That's where the deeper light begins.